26. When owning a house, we have to pay for municipal taxes. The word municipal is the third level of government, which looks after the city. So municipal taxes is paid every year, okay? And it's not the same time every year. Some municipal taxes, it goes up, goes down, depending on, I guess, how much is needed, that the city needs for the revenue. So looking at this, let's take a look at the goals for today. There's some vocabulary that we have to discuss first. Vocabulary is the words, the meaning, and things like that. The second is to calculate the portion assessment value. I'll talk about that. There's a formula for that. Using the mill rate to calculate the municipal property tax due. How much do we have to pay? And then the last one is to understand how local improvements are added and calculated onto our tax bill. So let's start off with property tax. What is a property tax? A property tax is the responsibility of each municipality in Manitoba. So our property tax go to City of Winnipeg because that's where we live in, right? And that's where our property is. It is taxed on the value of the property. So the amount of tax that we pay is based on the value of our property. The higher the value of the property, the higher the tax, that's basically how it's done. The value of property, that's basically what I said. The more valuable the property is, the more tax you pay. So here are some vocabularies that we have to discuss. Assessed value. Assessed value. In each municipality, assessor physically reviews each property every year and gives property an assessed value. An assessed value is, they're trying to figure out how much is the property worth. And the property could be the land itself, the land where your house is, and the building. And the building includes the house, the physical structure, your garage. Those are what you're going to be assessed on. Okay. So this assessed value should reflect a fair market price. What does it mean by fair market price?
Not overpriced.
Not overpriced, not underpriced, but what's fair. That is to say, the person living in a property was motivated to sell, and the buyer is motivated to buy. The assessed value should be close to the price of the two parties. So if somebody was to sell their home, what do they want? Higher or lower? Higher. Makes sense, right? Because you want to get more money out of your house. If you are selling, you want it higher. If you're buying, you want the price to be lower, right? Because you want to save money. So buyer price is low, seller price is high. You want it to be like somewhere in the middle. That's what the two price that they're talking about here. This assessed value ultimately dictates how much a property tax the owner will have to pay. So sometimes the land and the building on the property assessed separately. Sometimes they're separately calculated, land and any building, and then the building could be houses, barns, stores. If they are separate, the assessed value for house and the assessed value for the land, if they're separate, what we have to do is just add them together to make the whole thing the total assessed value. So let's take a look at example number 1. It says here, determining the assessed value, determining how much the value of your property. So this person lives on a farm, okay? The land is assessed at $1,200,000. The barn has assessed value of $95,000, and the house has an assessed value of 210. So calculate the assessed value of the property. Okay, so the assessed value of the property, we have the farm, the land itself, 1,200,000. Okay, and then within that farm there is a barn that is worth 95,000. And then within that farm there is a house which is worth 210,000. So all three things add up to just over 1.5 million, so it's $1,505,000. And because we're pretty much all of our questions are word problems, so there's a context to it. We gotta show our work, final answer with appropriate unit. So our unit here is dollars. Okay, so that was not bad. Assessed value, how much everything is worth. Good. Okay. Now, this is the second part. Portioned. So, before the calculation of property tax, the assessed value of the property is reduced to a portion. Currently, in the city of Winnipeg, the portion residential property is 45%. Okay, so if this is our property, and our tax is based on the amount of our property, or the value of our property, we're not paying for the whole amount. What we're looking is a portion of that. Okay, so 45% is the assessed value. So the portion value, now I want to highlight this. The portion value is the amount used to calculate the tax. Okay, not the assessed value, but the portion value. That's the one that's being used to calculate our taxes. So another word for portion assessment or portion value is called a taxable value. That's the other term. So if you want to create your study sheet, you want to do that, put that down, you could. So they do this to encourage or discourage certain types of property growth within the municipality, okay, which is actually good too. Like, would you rather pay taxes on $1 million? Probably not, right? Or just a portion of it. So let's take a look at example number 2. Calculating portion value. So John and Sheila purchased a home in St. James at $380,000. That's the assessed value. That's what the house and the land is worth. Now the portion percentage of this type of property is 45%. Calculate the portion value of this home. So portion means part of. Part of the whole thing, right? So 45% of that. So 45% would be 0.45 times the amount so let's calculate that piece. $171. So we got to put the dollar sign. $171,000. So this is the portion assessment. portion assessment, or it's called portion value or taxable value. Okay, so sometimes it's called portion assessment, portion value, or taxable value. Our taxes will only be, or their taxes will be based on this amount, not the 380. Okay. Good so far? And number 3. I'll move it up here if you're still writing, so you can still see it. Number 3. So far the first part that we did is figured out the whole value of the property. That's the total assessment value. And then the second part is we only look at the portion of it. So we figured out the portioned value. Now here, this is the part where we're actually calculating something. How much do we pay for taxes? So it costs money to provide municipal services, and much of this money is collected through property taxes. So the municipality of Winnipeg is in charge of certain things. Is there anybody here knows what the city does for a city? What do you think we pay for? Road repair, yeah, certainly, and we see a lot of that, right? Because Winnipeg is such a, yeah, we have issues with our roads, right? Okay, road, certainly, very good. Sewage, yeah, sewage, yes. Anything else? Yeah, part of the money in the property tax would go to education, certainly. Not yeah. Part.
Medical care?
Medical actually is part of the whole federal. That's federally funded. Yeah. What's that? Prevention? Oh, prevention of what? Yeah. No, but municipal means the city of Winnipeg. So somebody talked about fixing the road, fixing the sewer, right? If there any sewer stuff that needs to be fixed. Lighting, yeah. You go to the library sometimes. Winnipeg Public Library, right? What other things of the city? Winnipeg Police. Policing is part of the city. Garbage collection, all of that is part of the city. So those things and those services, if we didn't have services for collecting garbage, imagine that, right? Providing services for mass, for the people, cost money. And who pays for that? We pay for it through our property tax. Okay, so it costs money to provide municipal services, and this money is collected through property tax. So the property tax in Winnipeg is expressed as mill rate. Okay, so we see a lot of rates in this unit alone, right? We see a lot of rates. So we talk about interest rate. We have mill rate. So what's what? So percentage rates are per 100, but mill rates, and we can highlight this, mill rate is per 1,000. Let's highlight this piece. Mill rate means per 1,000. So every year the municipality sends each property owner a tax bill, and this amount of tax owing is calculated using the formula. Okay, so this formula is highlighted. What does that mean? When we have our test, this is probably a good idea to have on our formula sheet to bring to the test, right? So put a star beside it. must write it on the formula sheet.
What about and?
Hold on for a second. What about,
100.
what was that?
100.
Per 100? This one?
Yeah.
No, they're trying to tell us the difference between percentage rates, which is per 100, and mill rate, which is per 1,000. Okay, so here, write that on your formula sheet. So the property tax is equals to the tax rate, which will be given to us, divided by 1,000, times, what does that say? It says portion assessment. So after we figured out the portion, that's the number that we put in there. Let's put it together. So it says here, example number 3, Robert lives in a municipality with tax rate of 17.34 mils. His property has a portioned assessed value of 170. Calculate Robert's municipality property tax for the year. So here, calculate the property tax. So how much is a property tax? Mill rate divided by 1,000 times portioned assessment.
You have to figure out that 45% first.
Oh, that's a good question. Do we have to figure out the 45%? The answer for this one is no, not anymore, because this one is already the portion.
Oh,
So,
it's already,
yeah, it's already been taken out. So this is already the portion, means we don't have to do that extra step. We'll see that next question. Okay? That's a good one. So let's put in our numbers here. Mill rate is, where is it? 17.34 per 1,000 times portioned assessment. So portioned assessment is 170. There we go. So we just calculate that. So why don't you calculate that piece if you haven't done so, and I'll do the same thing. Okay, this is what I got. $2,947, and I got 0.8 on my calculator. Okay, can I write it like that? I gotta add a 0, right? Because when we're talking about money, okay, this is what I got. This is probably what you got on your calculator, right? $2,947, and 0.8, it means 80 cents. You gotta put that there. Good. And this one is for the year. The year. Okay. Just like our insurance, it's annually calculated. Property tax annually calculated. So far so good? Is that okay? I'm just gonna move it a little bit so we can take a look at example 4. So example number 4. I think this is puts everything or almost everything together. Calculating portion assessment and municipality property tax. So Kayla owns a property in the same municipality, so that means same rate, mill rate, with an assessed value of 360,000. The portion percentage is 45%. Calculate Kayla's municipal tax for the year. Okay, now I'm gonna point out something in here. What's given? They said we're gonna be using the same mill rate, so mill rate is 17.43 mills. Okay.
Sorry for the interruption, everyone. Just a quick reminder for students that if you are parking in the Web Place lot, you do need to come and register your vehicle in guidance and pay $2. So if you don't do that, your vehicle will be towed. Also, with the owner of a black Ford Escape, license plate FTX886, please come move your vehicle immediately. You are parked in a staff parking spot. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Oh, that wouldn't be the first, that one wouldn't be the last that you'll see me do that. I don't know how I managed to do math. I switch things around. Thank you, I appreciate you pointing that out, and I think other people saw it too. You're just too polite to say anything. But I appreciate that you tell me, because I don't want us to go deep into the question and then having the right thing. Okay, so the same mill rate, it says here, with the assessed value of 360. Okay, now to figure out the municipal tax rate, we need the portioned assessment. Not the assessed value, but the portioned assessment. So what we're going to do first is to figure out the portion assessment. First, okay, first we got to calculate the portion assessment, and to do that we know it's going to be 45%, so 0.45 times 360,000. So 0.45. Okay. So our portion assessment is $162,000. $sign 162. Okay. So this amount is what our property tax bill will be based on. Okay. Next. I'll just go property tax to be more specific. So property tax is equals to the mill rate, okay, 17 point, I gotta be conscious about this, 34. Okay, following our formula, mill rate divided by 1,000 times the portioned assessment. So the portion assessment is 162. Okay, so 162. We just got to figure that out. So go ahead and figure that piece. Okay. Got 2809.08. That's it. So putting it together. So in this particular lesson, we talked about total assessed value. Total assessed value. So adding up all the things that are in that property. The second thing that we did was figuring out the portion only of that amount. So portion assessment. That's example 2. And then the third part is figuring out the municipal tax from there. Okay, so that concludes this lesson. It's a pretty short, oh sorry, no, I did not. One more. That doesn't conclude it because there's a little bit more at the back. Local improvements. So local improvements, and some of you have already touched on that earlier, talking about the roads, right, that needs fixing, the sewer that needs fixing, the lighting. I think somebody mentioned lighting. So it says here, municipality will often make improvements, of course, in the neighborhood. For example, the installation of sidewalk, extra lighting, and other things. Property owners will be charged a local improvement tax to pay for these changes. So local improvement is, you only pay that amount if there's actually something getting done within your neighborhood, right? So if they need to fix your sidewalk, people around that neighborhood will only pay for that one. If your sidewalk is, let's say your sidewalk is not getting fixed, you're not going to get charged that. Okay? So that's why it's called local improvements. To make it fair for everyone on the street, property owners pay share as determined by the frontage of the property. Okay, frontage, what is that? Frontage, and they define that one. Frontage is defined as the width of the property on the side that faces the front, usually the side street. Like how long is your front there? So this part here talks about the local improvements and the number of years in terms of it would take to do that, to pay for that. So it says here, these are the property improvement, and we're going to be concerned with how much it's going to cost per foot per year. So let's take a look at example 5. There's only one example. So Robert owns a lot, okay, a property that has a front of 40 feet, frontage of 40 feet. This year he has to pay for the following local improvements: lane paving and water mains. So lane paving and water mains, calculate how much he will be charged for these local improvements. So they're gonna change these two things. Lane paving, how much would it cost for lane paving? Lane paving, it's gonna cost them $16.60. And how much would it cost for water mains? So water mains, $11.39. So plus $16.60. Yeah, $16.60. $16.60 plus $11.39. $27.99. Okay, so it's gonna cost them $27. No, shoot. Okay, because I fixed it. Yeah. Okay, somebody said something. Lane paving, I want to make sure. Lane paving, $16.60, and then the water mains, $11.39. So add those two together. Those two local improvements gonna cost $27.99, right? Per foot. Per foot. Oh, okay. You have a different way. Sorry. Yeah. We're gonna end up with the same answer.
Okay.
Trust me. Okay. So that's probably why you're. No. I'm not quite that. Okay. So in this case, this is gonna be $27.99 per foot. Well, how big is a foot? It's about this big. Right? How many foot do we have to cover? 40. So we've got to multiply by 40. Okay. So local improvements. You guys are just so fast. I know, my class is like that. Very, very keeners. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay, so it should cost 1,119. Okay, this is what I got. Okay, is that okay if I write that down? No? What's the matter with that one? I gotta put a 0 at the end. Yeah, makes it 60 cents. And what else? Dollar sign, correct. Yeah, you gotta emphasize that because. Okay, now I think I'm done. Did we get the same answer? Okay, so some people might have a different way of doing this, and that's. Can I show you? What did you put?
I just put.
Can I put it on the screen?
I just, no.
Okay, no, okay. Never mind.
I just put like 16 times 40 and.
Yeah.
So it's
Correct.
kinda like a long one.
Yeah, no, it's the same way. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we still have to do 3 steps, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, no, no. That's basically, this is how much you're gonna pay for, this is what you're talking about, right? The terms is how long you would have to pay for that one. Because this one here, water mains, it's gonna cost, will take us 10 years to keep going. And the other one, lane paving, oh, much longer, 20. So, yeah. Because it costs money, and for the city to charge us the whole amount in 1 year, I think that's gonna be way too much. So, yeah, they stretch it out for 10 years, and you got 10 years to kind of pay for it. Good question. Awesome. Okay, I appreciate your participation. I appreciate you correcting my mistakes because I do that all the time. So please be patient with me. And also I appreciate that you are very interactive. So I'm gonna pause this piece of video.